Hello and welcome to an episode of Jacob's House of Rock. My name's Jacob and today I'm actually filming this little segment of the video in the future, or the present as it were, whereas the rest of this video is actually going to be from several months ago when I was actually last filming this unboxing. So yeah, I haven't uploaded anything in a long time. That's why I decided to put this little intro in here, just to let you guys know that I'm still kicking, I'm still doing my thing. It's just life has been pretty hectic and busy, so I haven't been able to work on videos for this channel recently. So just wanted to let you guys know that. So the next portion of this video that I'm about to cut to is from a couple of months ago, back when I actually got this amplifier and did the unboxing. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna do a little demo of this amp, just a little quick noodly thing, nothing too special, which is gonna be recorded later today, as I'm recording this currently. So that's what this video is gonna be, and hopefully I will be able to do a full review of this amplifier sometime in the near future, but no promises as to when I can get to that, but it's on the agenda. I'll hopefully do that soon. So again, thanks for sticking by and checking out this video. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry I haven't been uploading as frequently as I would have liked to. But yeah, that's about it. Cutting to past Jacob now. Bye. We have a super exciting unboxing. Oh man, I've been waiting for this package to arrive for such a long time. I was honestly getting kind of worried that it wasn't going to, but it was delayed somewhere in Germany for quite a while because of the whole virus situation that's going on. But yeah, let's get right into it. So within this box, I've got two things. One thing less exciting than the other. The first thing is an attenuator, which is a little doo-wacky that you put between a guitar amp and the speaker just to make the guitar amp quieter, basically. Because sometimes you want to run your guitar amp really hot to get the best sound out of that thing, but sometimes you happen to live in units like me and you can't really do that all that much with certain amplifiers, hence the attenuator. And the second thing that we have here is the Laney LA30BL. I think that's what it's called. It's basically a 30-watt version of a Laney Supergroup, which is, you know, that classic vintage sort of 60s Laney amplifier. They've reissued it a little while back when Sabbath was doing their final tour, because they remade the 100-watt version for Tony Iommi to, you know, have that sort of classic amp for that tour. And recently they've put out a 30-watt version. I say recently, it's been out for a couple of years now, but still, they put out a 30-watt version, which is a lot cheaper than the 100-watt version, and it's, yeah, super excited. So I'm gonna get right into it. The box is massive. I don't know how I'm gonna do this unboxing. You can't really even tell from this angle, but it's like this big thing, and let's see what we can do here. There's a funny story about this amplifier, actually, because it's actually based on a prototype from like 1968 or something like that. Apparently Mr. Laney himself had the design all made and worked out back then, and he had only one prototype ever made, which was actually stolen from his own kitchen at one point, and then the amp was never put into production. Not just because the prototype was stolen, but because back in those days 30-watt amplifiers were seen as not loud enough for whatever reason. I guess mainly because they didn't have PA systems and stuff like that back then, but from what I understand, this amp is hella loud anyway, and I don't really see why you'd need anything much bigger than a 30-watt tube amp to begin with. Granted, I do have amps that are much higher wattages, but still, you don't really need anything much louder than like a 30-watt tube amp, in my opinion, so I'm really happy about that, and I really hope it does capture that tone, because if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm a big fan of that Black Sabbath tone. I'm not even sure if I'm opening this thing oh, okay. I already see the attenuator. Okay. Yeah, this way is working fine. I'm gonna throw this box out as soon as I finish this review anyway. I have no room for a box this massive. Oh, wow. So that's fine. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know if you can even see that. Got our attenuator. So this is the Bugera PS1 Power Soak. I've had mixed reviews on this thing, but some of which have been very positive, so hopefully this will do the job. From what I understand, the only real downside to attenuators is occasionally they do tend to absorb some of the real high end of the amp, just a hair. However, from what I understand, it's nothing that fiddling around with the tone knob can't rectify. So we'll see. We'll see. At the very least, it's a cool tool to have amongst your various amplifiers and stuff like that, just to try out. From what I understand, this is quite necessary for this amp, especially because I haven't mentioned, this thing doesn't have a master volume, as a lot of amps do. It doesn't have like a separate, you know, gain master volume thing. I think it just has a gain knob, which functions simultaneously as the volume. Because these amps, even though, you know, Black Sabbath is known for a very saturated, distorted sound, these Laney Supergroup type amps are actually fairly clean amplifiers that don't have a lot of breakup really early. Like, these are vintage style amplifiers, so this, you know, this is completely designed just how that original prototype was. So it does lack some of those features you typically expect from a lot of modern amplifiers, which I have mixed feelings on. On one hand, I do... Oh god, this is gonna be heavy. I do like that they kind of went with that approach, just from like the, oh, it's so like vintage style and everything like that. It's so authentic. I like that, but from a functionality point of view, I think throwing in stuff like a master volume and stuff like that would have been really beneficial for this thing. Okay, here we go. So we got the Black Country Customs logo on the front here. So Black Country Customs is basically what the line of made in England stuff from Laney currently is. Pretty much everything from back in the day from Laney was made in England, but I think now some of their more basic stuff happens to be made overseas, somewhere in Asia, I'd assume. Whereas the Black Country Customs line is still being made in England. Slip this off. That's right. And again on this side. Okay. Finally, after however many weeks or months of traveling this thing has had, I can finally see it out of the box. Here it is. Okay, so what do we get in here? We get some little silica gel packs and the bottom of the amplifier, and it's just got these foam blocks holding it in, which is really good because like I said, these things can be really delicate, so I'm glad it had some safety precautions on this interior box just to make rattling around as little an issue as possible on its big journey. So let's try and pull this thing out. Okay, these just kind of fall out like this. Oh, and here she is. The Laney BL130, Laney LA30BL, whatever the hell this is called. The Laney sound. We'll call it the Laney sound. Oh man, look at that. This is snazzy. I love the look of this thing instantly. It's for you know, an amp head, it's a very modest size. Like, it's nowhere near as small as something like, you know, a lunchbox amp like I've been getting from Orange or anything like that. But, you know, compared to like your typical 100 watt amp heads, it's a little bit smaller, which is nice. It's this nice sort of compact size, and it looks really snazzy. One of the things that I'm really drawn to with these amps is that vintage look, and especially just that finish, that logo, that nice brushed aluminium look on these knobs and all of that. That's so nice. I'm gonna take this thing out of plastic now. You can have a good look at it. Oh wow. This thing looks and feels so like fresh and new and shiny. That's so cool. Got a big open cage here. I can already see the vacuum tubes in here. It looks very shiny, so much shinier and nicer looking than the last tube amp that I got, that other Laney, which is all freaking dusty as hell and old and crusty and needed repair. But this thing, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that just looks like it came right out of the 60s, brand new from the factory. That is so nice. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the matching cabinet to go with this thing, which does bum me out. However, I did get my own set of greenbacks and make my own 2x12 greenback cabinet, because this thing was freaking expensive. This is actually now the literal single most expensive thing that I own. This is Laney Amplifier here, so I have high expectations of this thing. This better be a good amplifier. So far, so good. It's looking freaking beautiful. Definitely couldn't afford the cab that goes with this thing, although it pains me just because they look so good together. They had the same sort of colored mesh on the front of that cabinet, and it just was angled beautifully in the sizing and all that, and it would have just been so nice, because the one I have put together to go with this thing, again, has the same speakers in it, and it's a brilliant little cab. However, you know, it just, aesthetically, there's just something about this sort of vintage look that is so cool, and I would really love to be able to pair this thing with a cabinet like that. But yeah, have a look. We have these big, beautiful aluminium knobs here, which are really cool. I love the style of these sort of vintage amp knobs. I've actually been putting some smaller ones like this on some of my guitars recently in a similar sort of style, just because I feel like it really goes together with that sort of like vintage, classic rock kind of look. So I love that. We got the 4 inputs here, which is kind of really interesting about this amplifier. So we got the treble and the bass inputs. So one's a little bit more trebly, and one's a little bit more bassy. And I forget which ones are which, but there's a number 1 and a number 2 written here and here. So one of these is the low and the high input, basically. So if you have like really high output pickups and you kind of want a bit of a buffer just to have an even more cleaner sound, you put them in the high input, I think, and in the low input you'd put the like pickups that have a lower output, or I could be mixing all that up royally, but basically the idea is that the top or the bottom inputs have like a some sort of like a little resistor buffer thingy mabobber in there, just to kind of lower the output of whatever's being plugged into this. So here, we've got the top of this thing. It looks so shiny. Even like this little handle here has like these really nice shiny edges and everything, which is just new to me, because usually when I see amps like this, they're always like kind of corroded and faded looking. So this is so cool to see. We've got this big empty space in here. You can already see those tubes gleaming there, the EL34 tubes, nice big power tubes. Let's take a look at the back. We've got the Black Country Customs little handcrafted in the UK plaque here with the serial number. Mine is 1247. So that's my particular item of this amp right here. This thing doesn't have an effects loop, which is another thing which bums me out, because, oh man, I love having a little touch of reverb when I play. It's just really nice, and I want to run this thing as hot as freaking possible, hence the attenuator. So when you have an amp with no effects loop and you're running it, you know, hot and fuzzy, putting the reverb in beforehand isn't always the best sound. Like, you can make that sound definitely work, but like, it's a very different sound to a typically sort of reverb after the distortion kind of sound. So we will see, we will see. That's like part of the main reason I rarely use actually my orange Fuel Terror, is because that lack of that effects loop is kind of an issue for me. So I hope it won't be too bad with this thing. Like, I hope the rest of the amp sound itself will make up for that. But we'll see. We'll see. We do have all the little the typical speaker output things like that. We got our little power thing, which hopefully will work for our Australian voltages, which, yeah, it looks like it does, because it runs at like 220 to 240 volts, so that should be all good. A little fuse here, all that stuff, and yeah, I can see big power transformers in here. Two main tubes, which are, let me just kind of like mash my face into this grill here so I can actually make out if these have a brand or anything. LAD STR tubes. Okay, so that's a new brand that I have never seen, called TAD, and they have like a little drawing of a vacuum tube with like a lightning bolt through it as their logo. Okay, different from those Sovtech tubes that came stock with some of the other Laney amps. And oh yeah, what else to say? Looking beautiful, snazzy, and I'm super excited to test this thing out. Okay, so the only thing it seems to have arrived with is this manual, which, granted, does look really snazzy. So let's take it out, have a look. So we got this little, very fancy little book, the Laney Black Country Customs LA30BL user manual. Yes. This Black Country Customs product is built with the highest attention to detail, extensive play tested during its build process by a small group of dedicated players with many years of experience honing tone. Okay, that's lovely. The basic features here. So yeah, we got presence, bass, middle, treble, and gain. So like I said, no master volume, so we just got gain. Like, you know, an amp's exciting when there's no volume knob on it. It just says gain. So that'll be really interesting. Like, I don't even know what to expect with that, but we'll see. We'll see. Basic tube amplifier survival tips. Yeah, all of this basic stuff. You can just pause that there and have a bit of a read. I'd recommend like knowing this stuff beforehand. I've read through these types of things numerous times, so I'm not going to go into it. And then we have some of the specs and stuff like that, all the basic stuff. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and a little diagram for resistors and stuff. Okay. So not too much in this thing, but it is a lovely printed out booklet for what it is. And let's see what this is. I have no idea. It's slightly more badly crinkled piece of paper. But what is this? Oh, I got a bunch of Laney stickers. That's cool. Okay, I like that. I wish it was less crinkled, but this is pretty cool. Look at that. Laney amps in that that one. That's funny. Laney amps in that like Black Sabbath Master of Reality font. Like, yeah, they knew what they were doing with that one. Hashtag Laney amps. Wow. Hashtag Laney amps. Jeez. This is just so funny. It comes with like an amp designed from 1968, and we get hashtag Laney amps in this font as a sticker. I find that very amusing. Anyway, we've got Laney stickers, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool indeed. Now, my favorite one of these is probably like this one here. But I do like this sort of classic Laney logo here. So if you have another amp that you just happen to want to convert to a Laney, or you have a Laney without a Laney logo, which I actually do, but like I'm not actually gonna do this, but it's just like a funny little thing in my mind. You can just peel off the sticker and stick it on your other amp. So thank you, Laney, for being so thoughtful with these. And again, why are these so crinkled? You made everything else so nice and like smooth and snazzy and new feeling, and then this is like just like, yeah, just shove it in. But yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Also, this looks like it's glow in the dark. Or it could just be the color of the ink. I don't freaking know. Another thing to take note of, just before I get this thing all plugged in, is this amp didn't come with a power cable, so you will actually have to source your own power cable, just like this one. Which is pretty odd to me, because you would expect for something that costs this much, they would give you the courtesy of a power cable. No issue for me, really. I have a bunch of these lying around.